Hey yo! Hello conquerors! This is Mangudai Tactics coming with a little guide, a little example on how to play against the Holy Roman Empire, HRE, because every opponent requires different openings, but everything starts the same. The Khan will take the sheep back to the base, villagers will be created, wood will be gathered until 150 is in the bank, and it doesn't matter whom you're playing against. The start will be the same until you have 150 wood, and then you have to decide, okay, what's gonna happen? Are you going to go for a stable, or are you going to go for a barracks? Oh, by the way, I've met the opponent right here, so I decided to head back and go the other way around. As far as I can see, my opponent has got a second scout, which I didn't know, but it was okay, it's alright. I do have my gur on the berries, on the deer, and I might be going for the deer next. So it's okay if I do not find any more sheep. A few more I will find, these two I think. And I will go for the stable, just like I mentioned. I will go for the stable, I will push the enemy base. I don't know what he's doing and I do not care at this point. I will create the light cavalry, the horsemen, as fast as I can. And ideally you want to finish your stable when you have 120 stone in the bank and click the horseman, just as I did now, because the sooner you get to the enemy base the better. And you're gonna start raiding. One thing to take into consideration is the special ability of the HRE. Let's go into caster mode. The special ability of the HRE is the emergency repair ability, which means that you will not be able to fully destroy the mining camp, but sometimes the players are not very yeah, they're not very focused, so you can still destroy the buildings, the mining camp. And if he uses the special ability on this mining camp, yeah, that's okay. You can go to the next and destroy this one. So you will get your 25 gold, 25 food, which is pretty important at the beginning of the game. So it's always good to use the special bonuses of your civilizations. One thing that can be considered during the initial rush, the Dark Age rush with the Mongols, which is pretty powerful, to add in a scout. These horsemen, they do 10 damage, 10 fire damage, which means they damage buildings by 10. And the scout does so as well. So the scout is also versatile. You can use the scout to look what your enemy is doing. You can use the scout for the falcon and gather lots of intel on what your enemy is doing. Let's check out another situation. Mongols against HRE. We're gonna focus on HRE. The start will be the same. Let's just fast forward. Scouting around the base, no problem. HRE will most definitely go for spearmen, and there is a trick, a little psychological trick to force your opponent to go for spearmen, and you actually quite want that in many situations. So you will build a stable, yes, but you will not focus on creating keshik, on creating horsemen. No, you will go for Mangudai. So this is the point. Dark Age consists of horsemen, scouts, Khan, I never go tower rush because I don't want to take off my villagers to bring them all the way to the opponent base. I do not tower rush. I never did. I never do. Some players like it. Some players get frustrated by getting tower rush, but that's okay. I mean, to each his own. I like to take my army. I don't like towers. To put towers in the base, it kind of takes away the authenticity. So yeah, scouting the enemy base with my horsemen, and well, what a nice spot. So do not run with your horsemen into the enemy base. Your point is not to kill the villagers, your point is to take them off the gold. And as you can see, my opponent is already going H2 while I'm still on how much? 200 food, and I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a hurry. I do not care if my opponent is already going second H. As Mongols, you always have the advantage of the age, which means that by the time your opponent gets to H2 or has already gotten to the second age, then you should consider dragging in your villagers like I should do here, and go for the second age. Yeah, so by the time your opponent is age 2, you should start aging up as well. And this is what I'm doing. Meanwhile, you want to destroy your own enemy base, you want to get the raiding bonuses, 25 food, 25 gold, pretty nice if I manage to destroy this one without him using emergency repairs. And as you can see, he has used emergency repairs here in this situation. So now the mining camp is vulnerable because it takes some time. For horsemen, we'll bring down the mining camp pretty quickly. He's not doing anything else. He has just created a spearman. I'm not afraid of one spearman, but 2 spearmen are a little bit too much. And I can destroy this one. If he's not fast enough, I can destroy this one again. Yeah. So that would be 75 food, 75 gold for just destroying some buildings. So this means I have gotten half of my resources back from the raid, which is pretty nice. Yeah, but I don't think I will get this one. I don't think I will get this one. I'm gonna attack the spearman. I don't care. I don't care. I will go for the spearman. Just drag out the horseman. Use him to attack this spearman, get the house down, quickly, and then run away. And by forcing your opponent to go double barracks, I'm forcing him to go double barracks to spawn spearmen. See, 75 each of these resources. By forcing him to go double spearmen, double barracks, only spearmen, only yeah, he's going only spearmen because he had no access to the gold for men at arms. So this means I can go for the counter tactics, which is creating Mangudai. So I will go for the Mangudai. I have saved all my units. I have gotten 75 each out of these resources, and I can now focus on my second wave of raiding while taking care of my base, designing my base, making sure I have one pasture for now, building an outpost for any type of emergency. What I could have done, I could have pushed the deer stone a little bit further here, so my Mangudai would arrive much quicker in the center of the map, and use the Yan network influence at the outpost. So ideally you want to cover your entire base with Yan network. See here where I'm building the market, and I'm not building the market in the corner as I have mentioned before. So I clearly believe that it's better to start your market in a safe spot. With Mongols, base design is quite different from other civilizations. Okay, let's get back to raiding. I'm gonna continue raiding. I'm gonna try to destroy the spearman line. I'm gonna try to get rid of the spearmen so I have access to the villagers, which I can then raid. But unfortunately, since I'm only a platinum player, just freshly arrived in platinum, I am not that quick. So yeah, right now, soon I can make another round of Mangudai. This is the point. If you see your enemies going for spearman like this, you want to do Mangudai. Mangudai are also good in larger numbers against men-at-arms. So if he keeps this composition, I will keep up with my Mangudai and horsemen. Not gonna go into Keshiks, it makes no sense for me at this point. While I'm also designing my base, I'm sometimes neglecting the military aspect, the raids. The blacksmith could have come much earlier. He knows that I'm trading. That's why I'd like to keep my market a bit closer to my base. So you don't want your traders to die. They're much more expensive than a villager. So it's always good to have them protected, even if the investment is not as good as in the situation where you put your market here in the corner. I guess if you put your market here, then the traders will have to go around here somehow, and the trade might be a bit better. I'm not very sure about this. Enemy just chilling inside my base. I'm gonna be nice and not attack him. Mangudai numbers building up, but he's also going for archers, which means that it's a good tactic to go for Keshik. They absorb lots of archer damage. Always combine your Mangudai with more powerful cavalry units, otherwise you're gonna be a good target. Your raids will not be as efficient, and if you go under a fully garrison tower, you will lose your units. Now, I noticed this. I noticed that he is doing the wall. Oh, no, I don't. If I had noticed, so it's always good to stick around the enemy base and see what he is doing. Always raid, always attack, always harass. The more you force your opponent into a defensive position, the more time you have to design your base, which unfortunately the Mongols do not have walls, not even in Imperial Age, and this is one of the biggest disadvantages with the Mongols. This is why the Mongol Imperial is not very efficient, especially if you want to chill down and design your base and make some choke points. You cannot do that. Your base will always be vulnerable. But yeah, I cannot give too many hints on this one. Let's look at another situation. I don't really remember what this game was all about, but we can see as we go. The town center will go close next to the wood line, close to the gold. The gear will go to the gold, and one villager will build the uvu as soon as possible, because once we have the stable out, we want to have 120 stone in the bank so we can produce double horsemen. The Khan will go around the base, and usually how I proceed with scouting, I normally go around 3 lines. This one was a bit too close to the edge of the map. The chance to find sheep there was pretty small, but I'm going around the wood lines to explore what's around the base. Usually this is where the sheep are located. I don't care about rushing into his base, getting his sheep. If I lose a few sheep along the way, that's okay. Yeah, just like I did with this one and the other one around here. A bit silly. So it's always good to go with the flow of your Khan and look what he's doing and see if there are any sheep just chilling around, waiting to be found, waiting to be brought to the slaughter of the town center, stables being built. Meanwhile, the Khan is heading back home with the sheep. You always want to have around 3 sheep when you start heading out with the Khan, but these are gonna be your initial sheep. So yeah, 120 stone and 100 food, 20 wood have been converted into 2 ugly horsemen with which I will harass my enemy. I don't know what he is doing. As usual, I don't know what he is doing, but I'm still producing double horsemen. If his mining camp is outside of the town center fire, I might produce another scout to add some fire damage. 9 on food, 2 on wood, 2 on gold. I'm usually just playing around with this combination and continue to bring villagers on food. Okay, and now the harassing begins. What you can do is just shoot a few villagers with a Khan because they don't take this seriously. And yep, when that villager is low HP, you can go in with your horseman, and I got the villager, which is pretty frustrating. Only 3 minutes in the game, 1 villager dead. Which means I have a villager lead. And he is out of gold. He cannot produce men-at-arms. Except if he goes for this gold. So it's really frustrating until you, as HRE, you need to have the spearmen out to get rid of the horsemen. So you will start producing spearmen. You cannot produce men-at-arms, and producing spearmen is pretty nice for me because I can go for Mangudai. That is always the point. Go for Mangudai. Okay, let's see. Let's see what happens next. Khan always knowledgeable of what is happening. What's happening in my base? Well, I'm going for Deerstone. Like I said, it's no problem if you age up a bit later than your opponent. I could have brought another round of horsemen, but I'm gonna keep them up. Yep, and what I did here is I dragged the spearman out with my Khan. The Khan is pretty strong, so 1 spearman is no problem at all. Meanwhile, I'm killing off his villagers. Meanwhile, base being built, market, small market line, but no problem. Once the Mangudai are in, harassing can become a priority. Another round of Mangudai, including archers. I need archers against his infantry. The archers will become part of the secondary army. Scout is down, always a nice treat to get rid of his scouts. Keshik, scout, horsemen can go under the town center fire, but the Mangudai must be protected. Typical Mongol start. For the beginning, 5 on wood, 1 on food, 2 on food, and counting until There is 150 wood in the bank, after which the stable will be built. HRE player, starting with gold, 3 on gold. For now it's a typical start. Let's see the scouting. Some sheep have to be gathered until the stable is being built. 2 horsemen. Usually the stable has to be built before 120 stone is in the bank. After that, 2 horsemen have to be spawned out of the stable. A bit late. Ideally, you want to use every second. In the beginning, every second counts when it comes to raiding. So this build and so these builds are for rushing, for raiding only. So most of the stuff will be focused on raiding the opponent, on taking them off the wood, off the gold, off the stone, of whatever the opponent is doing. And ideally I have noticed that adding in a scout is a very good idea in many situations. Why? Because of the torch damage. 10 torch damage, 20 torch damage coming from the horseman. Oh yeah, so yeah, the scout has to be built only if the gold is forward, if it is out of the town center range. In this case it is not necessary, and dealing this torch damage against the landmark is kind of pointless. Okay, it kind of brings the HP down, but not too much. Makes no sense to add the scout. Ideally with a con, scouting the enemy base. In this situation, raiding is not necessary. Just checking out the map, seeing if there is anything else to do. Archery range, stable. Your typical matchup. Still useful to hit the enemy a little bit. Find the sweet houses. Yes. Always circle the base. Remember, town center means that focus should go on having a market, trading. And another thing that I do is I don't build a market in the corner. It's a bit too risky for now, so I usually go for closer market. I'm sacrificing a little bit of gold, but that's no problem. What's happening here? Yes, so in this situation, raiding starts to become possible. Having Keshiks is pretty useful because they absorb a lot of damage. So when raiding, it's good to have heavy units that can absorb lots of arrows to protect the Mangudai. Of course, the Mangudai will take damage, so ideally it is best to split the units. The Mangudai should be on control group 1 together with the Khan, and these ones should be second, and then control group 3 to select them all. Leave the Keshiks a bit more in the base, Mangudai a little bit more behind. And yeah, by now age 3, so I'm gonna stop creating Mangudai, stop creating the raiding units, and I will go into a solid army, starting to make the upgrades. Also, during the second age, the feudal age, the pierce damage, the range damage technology is very useful. It makes the Mangudai so much stronger, from 5 damage to 6 damage, which kind of counts. Especially if you have 4, 6, 8 Mangudai, it will make a big difference. Another mistake that I'm making here is not exploring his base, the enemy base. Another mistake is not having a scout around the enemy base. Kill some wolves, of course. And also, when you are playing against HRE, you should use your raiding units and your secondary units, your main military units, to protect the relics. See, I took the relic from his nose, and this one as well, and I'm gonna take that one as well. Okay, looks like a solid army. I have no chance with my raiding units against spearmen, archers, makes no sense. So, it's time to defend, to build a siege workshop, because if these guys take a hit, it's gonna be such a nice one. Now is a good time to do some redesigning at the base. These are very vulnerable. I'm gonna protect my units. I'm gonna lose my units. So, not much left to do, I guess. Not until Castle Age. I have only 3 archers, no possibility to make siege rams yet. I have not researched siege engineering because my focus was not on destroying his base, but on forcing him to panic, on forcing him to hide his villagers, to hide inside the base, while I can focus on my economy and pastures and gold and traders. And as you can see, I do have some trading going on. He knows this, but he cannot do anything. Not for now, because I do have a pretty strong army, cavalry army. The only thing that's left in the transition from the second to the third age is to protect the relics. I don't want the HRE player to take the relics. I'm okay with him taking one, I'm okay with him taking the second, but I want to have the upper hand when it comes to relics. That's why I'm focusing on creating 2 separate armies. The initial raiding army, which I can extend, and I do want to extend my raiding army against Mongols, 8 Mangudai, 6 horsemen, 3 Keshiks, the Khan. Pretty good against the HRE. His army will consist of spearmen, men-at-arms, and now he can go for Landsknecht. If he goes for archers and crossbowmen, then it's gonna get a little bit more difficult. That's why Mongols will have 2 separate units, one raiding army and one army consisting of archers, men-at-arms or spearmen, depending on your banks. Do you need wood? Then you will go for men-at-arms. You need gold? Then you will go for spearmen. It always depends on what you have in your bank. And on your income, of course. But as you can see, I'm moving my army around, I'm just chilling, I know nothing is happening. I didn't know he had the walls around here, and this is one of the things that I'm doing wrong. I do not build enough scouts, so when the stable is idle, it's pretty cool to have some scouts going on. Yeah, but for now I'm focusing on my secondary army. I'm going for the relics. I noticed, I think he took the relic, yep, or, yeah, yep, he stole the relic from my nose. I wasn't careful enough. And yeah, that's why you need a secondary army, because he will push your base. But I think he believes that this is my only army, and he is pretty wrong, because I'm gonna outflank him. So I'm gonna retreat my army. I'm losing a few archers here and there, but that's no problem. As long as he doesn't force my villagers into the base, he will do that, but I will not lose any villagers. And he's in a tight spot right now, because from behind I have this army. So these are military tactics. You want to have your units in such positions where you can take your enemy by surprise. Of course, I'm losing a few units, that's no problem, but I have blocked his reinforcements. I'm not reacting quickly enough to attack and destroy his entire army, but I could have done that. It seems that with my Kurutai and my units, I have managed to repel the attack without any problems. I have not lost any unit. Oh, I have lost one unit. So that's okay. I'm losing my shaman, but the relic will be in my base, that's no problem. The situation is pretty good overall. Yeah, so this is how I transition into the third age, into the castle age, with 2 separate armies. The initial raiding army, which I have expanded, and the secondary army consisting of infantry, archers, and whatever your opponent will throw at you will go into your main army, not your raiding army. And you can always take units from here, bring them there, and make certain changes. But this army with the Khan has to be moved according to where the intensity of the battle will be. So it's either here or there, depending on what you're doing. You always want to have your Khan where the action is and where the action takes place. So yeah, that's kind of it, I guess, from this match. That's how I transition into the third age. And yeah.